Sitting here minding my own business, watching the Decker and Zora show. All day long, they fight over that ball. But it's and I was interested. Decker killed another bird the other day too, but I wouldn't let her get it in the house, and then my son got it, so it was cool. So yeah, goodbye. How y'all doing? I've been making a mistake about process and procedure. And I think it's a mistake a lot of people are making based upon the questions that I get. So let me explain to you what I've been doing wrong. And then I'm going to discuss some of the questions that we've got. And then I'm going to try to help us all figure out how we can get where we're going. When my husband first passed away, he was like lights and sirens and panic. And then after 6 or 7 months, I felt like, well, now it's time to get out there and rejoin the world, even though, and I did a whole lot of things because I was sad and I was in the bed all the time, and I did a whole lot of stuff. I did Pilates, and I did jabs. I did jiu-jitsu. Here I come in my denim-colored Volvo, and then just these F-150 trucks keep pulling up. Each one is jacked up higher than the other one. A bunch of dudes came out, 12 dudes and me. I did the class, and a woman finally came halfway through, so I had something to do. But until then, I did everything. And Carlos fought me. Carlos was very nice about it. He was trying not move over here. No, wait, no, we can't. He was helping. And then he says, okay, make you move. And I went, what? But anyway, so I decided that I didn't like doing any of those things. And I just don't think that's true. I took Taekwondo for 10 years, loved it. Played tennis for 10 years, loved it. So I do love physical activity. I want to play pickleball, but it's hard to get a pickleball court out here, and it's so hot all the time anyway, so. But anyhow, I thought that meant that outside was no longer where I wanted to be, and I wanted to be a good inside person where I created a lot of things and wrote and all this kind of stuff, but I have found that ain't none of that happening. I'm just kind of sitting here. So what I did was, well, let's move on to another procedure. So I have this thing where I want to get a cleaning lady, right? But work with my lack of logic here, okay? Just work with it. This is an emotional thing. I keep house so badly, I can only have 1 or 2 rooms that are presentable at any given time. And sometimes, then you move stuff around and you see all this really old dirt behind, like behind the dishware, all that. And I've started to clean so I can get the house clean enough so I can get a cleaning lady in here without feeling foolish. But every time I do that in a room, I find so much more that I need to do that I'm never going to get it done. And so I have to get over my emotional hump of not wanting to have somebody come in here. But I got to at least examine all the spaces so I don't know if there ain't nothing really weird and frightening going on. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, But anyway, I've never been good at cleaning a house. And I've always tried to be better. And I remember when I first moved to Phoenix, my mother and my sister flew out because my husband was still back in Cleveland with the boys, and they flew out to help me set up the house. So, because I had moved everything out here and all this kind of stuff, and Mom was unpacking. And she was unpacking. She would put stuff up, and she says, "You know what this is, don't you?" She was taking us, "This is all Cleveland dirt. You have moved 10 pounds of dirt from Cleveland to Phoenix. I just want you to know that." And then for the rest of the time, it was just, "Mama, Cleveland dirt." Now, see, that should have already been clean. Cleveland dirt. So every year before my mother came out for Thanksgiving, or Christmas or whatever, whenever she would come out, I would clean house for a week like a mad woman. And I'm like, think I always got it. She'd be in there 10 minutes, find some dirt. But at least she don't claim it's Cleveland dirt no more. This was Arizona dirt. All of those stories notwithstanding, I had a point. I really did. Not quite sure what it is anymore, but I had a point. Oh, my point was, I want to show you something. This is a printout of 2 questions that I got in my inbox, right? Inbox down there. If you want to ask me a question, you click on the link tree down there, and then you say, Ask Judge Lynn, it sends me an email. But these long letters are indicative not only of representative of a lot of what I get. It's like we haven't figured out, and me too, haven't figured out what exactly is the problem. There's just all these things swirling about us, and we're just upset. And I'm going to read these, and I'm going to tease out all the stuff that I can find that I think people need to be addressing. There are 2 things I've teased out so far. And the one is not checking out the sheets of your problems. I have a tendency to do that too. Everything will start rushing around. If I get upset and my fear chemicals are out and about, it's like I have, as my sister-in-law used to say, you've got too many doors open. My home is my emotional house is exposed to the world in a most dramatic fashion because I'm upset about everything, and you have to be able to say, okay, and a pen and paper, this is my favorite thing, write this down. When I do lists of things, I do better. And the second thing I have teased out of this is often we know what the answer is, but we don't want to do it because it's uncomfortable. It's not easy. You're concerned about the response, and you know what to do, but you want to see if you can find a way to do it with that or without the trouble. Because I always know what I should do. And I have a second set of eyes that tells me how often I don't do what I should do because I didn't feel like it. Not feeling like it is the worst thing in the world. Not feeling like it has been the bane of my existence since Brother Big E just rolled away. And so I went back, as I tend to do. I thought my mother was an emotional genius, and went. She's not here no more. She and her are sitting side by side on my shelf, which is just ironic because they didn't get along in the beginning. One of the last days before my mom died, she said, "You married the right guy." That was cool. That was good. So here it is, and I went back, and I am going to start studying rule number 10. Learning. This is the book. Learning to act in opposition to how you feel. And I don't just say act in opposition. I got all kinds of ways to do. First, you got to get your mind right. Now I got to get my mind right. This simply means you realize that you are sporting an emotion that is not doing you any good. You must decide to feel differently. The trick is to pick a specific emotion that you believe will serve you better and consciously decide to adopt it. I believe that was what my mother was telling me Then I told a story about me and my mother in the DMV, and I hate bureaucracies and impracticalities. And she could see me getting crazy in the line in DMV, and she leaned up to me and said, "You better get your mind right." She says, "I can see you getting agitated and irritated, and I want you to know that that lady up there did not invent this process, and she most certainly isn't getting paid enough to listen to people like you who are annoyed about the process she did not create. So you just better not get your mind right." So now I'm going to get my mind right as soon as I get the cramp out of my hand about what it is I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not sure. And I've been howling purposelessness for a while. Just feeling sorry for myself. But then some things have kind of started rotating back to me. I'm hearing from young ladies that I haven't heard from since Cleveland. Cleveland, I hate things that are impractical. Like when I was on the bench, I don't know what's happening over there. When I was on the bench and I was sentencing 18-year-old girls for stealing food because they had 3 kids at home with no high school diploma, I said, well, this is silly. So what I did was, I just hate doing stupid stuff that doesn't make any sense because you can't. Why are you sitting on there? Any sense? So I started a group for at-risk young ladies at 14, 15. You got to catch them before the first baby comes. You got to catch them before they drop out of school. You got to catch them before. And I went in there and learned a lot about what a lot of the young ladies weren't getting. But anyway, I tried to do things that have efficiencies. But now I am in the process of getting my mind right about getting out of this house, getting my mind right about getting a cleaning lady. I'm going to keep cleaning. I swear I'm going to get somebody in here. I'm going to get somebody to paint that wall. I'm going to tease out every other thing in this thing that I can find so I can help and assist with how you see it. Do you know what I mean? I don't have answers for how to do it, but I got a lot of suggestions of different ways to look at things so you can approach and process better and easier. The one thing I will say is don't adopt the cultural crank that we got so much of in the bank. You know what I mean? Everybody is. I'm going to cook, and when I get these, I hear a lot of, and I told him, or I took him to task, or shall I confront him, or, should I put up with it, or should I leave? There's a whole lot going on in the middle that's called compromise, understanding, taking this but not that. I'll put up with, my mother was like, I put up with this, but I ain't putting up with that. You know what I mean? And I love you the whole time. She'd say things like that to my, you know what I mean? But it's not all or nothing. It's not this or that. It's not versus. You know what I don't understand is comedy beef. And I don't know, maybe it's intentional. Driving up, I don't get it. I don't understand comedy beef. I think all the comics are funny. Well, you're not all of them. Look at that. I need more magnesium. But anyway, I've gone up, around, down, back, seats. Still not sure what I told you. But I'm going to get this cramp out of my hand, eat a banana. Also, that's good for it too. Banana, potassium. Y'all have a good day.